look up at the screen and see myself, I always have to laugh. Not because I think I'm doing a horrible job, quite the contrary. I just feel it's so surreal to feel like one person can entertain so many at one time. Narcissism is the part of my personality that I am the least proud of, and I certainly don't like to see it highlighted in everybody else I meet. There's something really great and romantic about being poor and sleeping on couches. I've learned to think I may succeed or fail, but I'm going to do so on the merit of my own instincts. Anxiety is a kind of fuel that activates the fight or flight part of the brain in me. It makes sure that a velociraptor isn't around the corner and that you do as much as you possibly can to survive. Because Hollywood has a lot in common with Jurassic Park and its primeval dinosaur universe. My mother taught public school, went to Harvard and then got her master's there and taught 5th and 6th grade in a public school. My dad had a more working class lifestyle. He didn't go to college. He was an auto mechanic and a bartender and a janitor at Harvard. I'm not the type of guy who enjoys one-night stands. It leaves me feeling very empty and cynical. It's not even fun sexually. I need to feel something for the woman and entertain the vain hope that it may lead to a relationship. Sure, I suffered a lot, but it's not like the end of the world and it's not who I am. I lead quite a pleasant life, and I'm able to divorce a perceived reality from my actual experience of life. I'm not the type of guy who enjoys one-night stands. It leaves me feeling very empty and cynical. It's not even fun sexually. I need to feel something for the woman and entertain the vain hope that it may lead to a relationship. I'm sure I can make a movie that doesn't feel like a 70s movie. But the truth is, that's my favorite era in American filmmaking. To me, those were the great years. Everyone's entitled to express their political beliefs. I don't presume to tell anybody who to vote for. I am comfortable telling people what my opinions are. I've finally learned how to say no comment. To appear in the tabloids is a real learning curve and a steep one at that. You'd better learn quick or you get burned. There's a lot of crazy, weird people out there. It's an ugly world. After 2000 or so, I started to realize I wanted to be doing something else. I didn't want to be in front of a camera. I was frustrated. I didn't think I would stop acting, but I didn't want to be seen. I find forgiveness to be really healthy. People decided that I was the frat guy, even though I've never been inside a fraternity, or the guy who beat them up at school, even though that wasn't me at all. But when I felt like I had something to prove, Then I got up early every morning and worked all day long. I didn't know if I had any more talent than anyone else directing, but I knew I could work hard at it, and so I did. I'm not the most loathsome man in the world. I've dropped to number 9. I'm human, just like anybody else. I knew I had to get out of Boston and stop making movies there, at least for one movie. Otherwise, no one would ever consider me for a movie that took place south of Providence. One guy told me I was a great actor. I just would never be on the cover of a magazine. I grew up in a home environment where I wasn't getting esteem for anything I did. Nobody I represent is pretending to be the Pope or a role model for young people. People have to live their lives. They have the right to smoke if they want. All I do really is go to work and try to be professional, be on time, and be prepared. I just feel like sometimes I'm a force to be dealt with. My talents are sometimes overused and also sometimes underused. It's not easy being me. All I do really is go to work and try to be professional, be on time, and be prepared. As an actor, you can steer a scene in another direction by playing it a little differently. And honestly, I like being an actor, and I want to keep having a career. The first thing that I really understood politically and was old enough to get was the failed assassination attempt on Reagan. I'm very insecure. I'm human just like anybody else. Every single director, actor I talked to, from Warren Beatty to Clint Eastwood to George Clooney, said the biggest mistake they made is not shooting enough footage of themselves. The trap for an actor is that you become too successful at what you're trying to do, and you can find yourself stuck there. There is nothing worse than a 13-year-old boy. You're embarrassed by your parents, and you're trying to find your independence because deep inside, you are so dependent on your mom. You're basically the sum of all the experiences you've ever had, and they're sort of shaken up in you and reproduced in the things you create, and that includes seeing movies. My kids aren't celebrities. They never made that bargain. We were offered a lot of money to sell pictures of our kids when they were born. You'll notice there aren't any. I make no judgment about people who decide differently. A lot of them give the money to charity. For me, it was a matter of principle. I'm always described as cocksure or with a swagger, and that bears no resemblance to who I feel like inside. I feel plagued by insecurity. Well, I've never used that phrase before, but yes, she is bootylicious. I like round tables because you can talk more directly to people, and you also can get kind of a vibe on what a journalist's take is on something. and have a conversation with them more. Affleck was the bomb in Phantoms.